Hi, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about what it is you're actually selling because as we go into this argument with the iPhone screens getting more and more expensive, people seem to be losing track of what it is they're actually selling with their business when they are charging money for service. So when I'm saying about with the iPhone screen thing, iPhone 5 screens that were really, really good, like best quality that you can get, were about 34, 35 bucks. And now those screens that are about 50 to 60 bucks and the iPhone 6 screen, those were like 60 in the 60s, and you can't charge really more than 90 or 100 if you're in an area near Apple stores because Apple will do it for 109. You know, a big problem here is that you really only have 20 or 30 bucks of profit to do a lot of these repairs. Again, the iPhone 5 is a phone where when I tell people 80 plus tax, they just shit themselves. Like a guy by my apartment does it for 40 bucks. What the hell is this? Blah, 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 blah. Like they crap themselves at 80 bucks. So at $80, it's kind of already a stretch for me to tell somebody I can fix your phone in 10 minutes and it'll work great. And now with the part being like $60, now it's like not only are you crapping your pants at the price, but I only get to make 20 bucks while dealing with you crapping your pants at the price. And there are a lot of people who don't want to do this repair anymore, and I totally understand why. And then there are also a lot of people that say, you know what, we have to do this to satisfy our customers because they may go elsewhere, or we need that as a gateway to other repairs. And it's not a very hard, I know it sucks, but it's not a very hard job to do. We'll deal with only making $20 or $30. And here's what you have to realize. See, you think, when you use that kind of terminology, you think that all you're selling is the job. You think that taking the 10 or the 15 screws out, taking the stuff and putting it back together and handing it back to the person is all you're selling. And if you think that, you are really, really wrong, and you're setting up your pricing structure really, really badly. So what you're selling when you actually have a retail storefront or an office, you're selling every single part of the customer experience. You're selling when somebody walks in and you know that there's probably a 90% chance that they're not going to spend money, you're selling being polite to that person and trying to help them with their problem. When somebody says, hey, my phone cracked just a week after you fixed it, and I want you to fix it again under warranty, you're actually selling the 20-minute conversation that you're going to have with that person where you're explaining to them why it is you're not going to do it again. You may say, why is that a 20-minute conversation? Well, I can have that conversation with you in 5 seconds and have you leave a 1-star review and file a chargeback, or I can have that conversation with you over the course of 20 minutes and have you thinking that I'm your new best friend and leaving a 5-star review and paying me full price for the screen repair that you paid for a week ago. Like, that is how it is. There are all these little conversations that you have to have. There are all these customer callbacks. There's all the warranty and the service after the sale, as my friend Jake loves to call it, because he is a really big enemy of the whole service after the sale concept. And it's really important in his industry. It's like, make me a show CD. Make me this. Help me with this. Oh, can I change the way my voice sounds in that track? Can you do this and that there? And a lot of people really expect this kind of stuff to be free because it's little suggestions. So he calls that service after the sale. And he hates service after the sale because he's a one-man business who's dealing with all this himself. And nothing's more annoying than thinking you're going home at 3 in the morning and getting a phone call from somebody that's needing service after the sale for the show that they have tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And they don't want to pay for it. And admittedly, service after the sale can suck, and it's something that I have to deal with a lot of the time as well. And the way that I deal with service after the sale is I build that into my pricing structure. So when, for example, let's say it's a board repair. $325 plus tax is not just buying you me fixing your motherboard. It really isn't. The same thing with the wholesale customer. So, for example, I had to deal with an email exchange back and forth because somebody legitimately, honestly believed that we were just fucking with them. That, no, it's not that the email may have went to spam or something was going on. It had to have been that we did not send them a return shipping label. After spending 3 hours on a motherboard that wound up being unfixable after filming it, and then pretty much screwing myself into spending like another 6 hours on it. No, I must have not sent that email because I wanted to save $6 on return shipping. Like, having to read a 3 or 4 paragraph email from somebody about this and just deal with that. Believe it or not, you're actually buying that. Like, me being polite, me actually explaining myself in a kind and concise manner instead of telling you politely to go fuck yourself. I mean, you're actually paying for that. That's why I don't say those things. You're actually paying for the hello when you walk in the door. You're paying for how it is I treat you on every single step of the process. So, for example, there'll be people that say, I'm sorry I'm bothering you over and over about this, or I'm sorry I'm taking up so much of your time. And I'll look at them and I'll go, What are you talking about? It's totally fine. And it really is, because you're actually paying for it. Within my business model, all of these things are covered. One example. Just today, there was somebody that was going back and forth and arguing and complaining and going, just being really, really annoying for absolutely no reason, just because I really think this person kind of enjoys being really, really annoying. And at the end of it, I'm printing out a ticket for something, and she looks at it and she sees that it's printed on a piece of label paper. So I use a ZP505 to print all of my shipping labels. And I use that same ZP505 to also print receipts. I don't feel like having a front desk that's 90,000 USB cords going this way, this way for all these different things. I'll use that. I'll use a ZP505 as a receipt printer. I don't care. And she gets it, and she goes, and she was talking for about 2 or 3 minutes about how money don't matter to her, but I don't care about money, blah, 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 and going on to criticize people who have certain values and just all sorts of stuff that I don't give two shits of a fuck about when I'm the guy who may or may not be selling you a laptop. Like, I don't care. I don't want to listen to this. But I am. And she gets it back, and now she's complaining about a ticket that she got, and because this ticket is on a sticker, and it is not on proper receipt paper. And she was talking all about how she didn't like, she didn't care about money and this, that, and the other thing. And at this point, like, people are just staring like, you just send this person away. This is just getting annoying. This person is going above and beyond to be annoying. They know they're being annoying for the sake of being annoying. And I look and I go, well, I don't want to spend money on a receipt printer. Why wouldn't I reuse the shipping printer? One of us has to care about money, or this just isn't going to work. And I say it in a nice, charming fashion, and she laughs and laughs and laughs and smirks and smiles, this coy little cute smile, and decides that she's going to buy a machine. And she spends money. And again, that's actually what you're paying for. Me smiling and coming up with some witty back and forth banter so that you laugh, so that you feel good about spending money here, is actually part of what you're paying for when you're paying for service. I actually am selling that. And that's not something I'm going to sell for $80 when part cost is $60. You really are. You are charging people for making them laugh. You are charging people for dealing with every single little follow-up question they're going to have. You are charging people for the actual conversation that you're going to have later. Because think about it. If you're only making $20, you don't have a half hour to do service after the sale. If you're charging $20 in profit to do something, you don't have 20 or 30 minutes of time to talk to that person, to make them feel good about the fact that they were the ones who fucked up their screen, and it's not that you installed a screen that was designed to fail. Because again, if I am only making $20, I really only have 5 seconds to have that conversation with you. And if I have that conversation with you about why, the screen cracking again on its own because of me is the problem. If I have that conversation with you in 5 seconds, that's a 1-star review right there. Again, same person having the conversation, but when I take that and I bring it down to the 5 seconds that I've allotted based on the profit that I've made off of you, that's a 1-star review and a chargeback and a lawsuit and blah, blah, blah. But when I've charged enough money to make it worth me speaking to you for 20 minutes, I can explain everything properly. I can make you feel good about what we did. I can make you feel shame for whatever it is you did. I can make you feel shame for however it is you fucked it up on your own. I can figure out how it is you fucked it up on your own. I can make you feel like I really care about you, like you're one of the guys and I want you to be my friend. And I think that you're just so goddamn special so that when you leave here, you leave a 5-star review. Like, believe it or not, that's actually what you are selling people. That is what they are paying for. So you need to kind of build this into your jobs if you want people to actually feel good about the service that you're providing and if you actually want to be successful. So if iPhone 5 screens are $60 or $65 and you were charging $75 or $80, should you continue doing it at that cost? Fuck no, because there's not enough money there to make it worth all the service after the sale. There's not enough money there to have a 20-minute conversation with somebody a week after you fix their iPhone 5 and they go, my power button only clicks half the time, to actually sit with them and go to Apple's website and show them how Apple recalled this because they know that every single iPhone power button since the 4 has been a complete steaming pile of shit, but they finally, on this one little product, decided to recall it. For me to go through forums and show you that, see, thousands and thousands of other people have had this problem. See, there are businesses that do nothing but replace power buttons and they drive nice cars because these are pieces of shit. Again, I can have that conversation in 5 seconds. It's not going to result in anything good, but I can have that conversation over 5 or 10 or 20 minutes, and you will be happy. But I need to be compensated for that time. Now, obviously, I cannot do that at the point of sale. I can't like do itemized billing where I say backlight fuse 17 cents, Lewis soldering it $50. Dealing with your entitled millennial hipster attitude, like, $275. I can't do that. But what I can do is I can say, this will be $325 plus tax. Is that worthwhile to you? And if you say yes because you think it's a good deal, well, great. You don't have to know the breakdown, and honestly, they don't really need to know the breakdown. But that is a lot of what we do here. Again, when somebody comes back in 6 different times saying that Siri is not working the way they were before, and you are talking into the power button side of the phone instead of the microphone side of the phone, again, I could say what I think, or I can say what would be appropriate. And you need to charge a rate where you can say what's appropriate and smile. And that is part of what we charge for in service. And that's part of what you're selling at your store. Again, you're not just selling repair services. You're not just selling people solutions. You're actually selling them how you sell them the solution. You're selling them the manner in which you socialize with them and deal with them while you're selling them the solution. That's something that they're paying for. At the very least, I hope they're paying for, and I hope that it's something that since they're paying for, that you are providing them. So, again, when you get people to laugh, keep in mind that no matter how mad they are, no matter how pissed off they are, no matter how not willing they are to spend money, the second that you get them to laugh, everything just kind of melts away, and you'll be able to sell them the solution that is right for them, and also the solution that is going to make you some money. You have to get people to laugh. You kind of have to make it. You kind of have to just get to a point where you can figure out, what can I do to get this person to lighten up, and it's often hard to do that. And, a great example of this is with when people will ask me, so do you use the original Apple screen? Because this is a very common one if you're an iPhone repair store. Everybody wants to know, are you using Apple screens in my phone? Are you using this thing or using some crap? And usually you'll get, somebody who'll just say yes. And that's kind of weird to believe because they just outright said yes and didn't explain themselves. It's like, well, so I'm just supposed to believe you because you said yes? And then you have the people who say, well, here's what we use and here's why we use it. So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much explaining everything to you. I'm wasting a lot of time to explain myself to you, and I'm also trying to take my vision and put it into your head. So not only are you going to be kind of skeptical because I'm trying to put my vision in your head, but you're also going to get bored as I explain all this crap that while you're interested in knowing, or you claim you're interested in knowing, you actually don't know anything about. So this is going to wind up being a real waste of a conversation, and a lot of the times it doesn't get much done. That's traditional sales, and as I've said, traditional sales very rarely works, and it really doesn't get things done in the real world the way people think it does. What I'll do is I will try to just take you off guard. I'll say something like, Lord, no, I would never use an Apple screen in your phone. They're the worst. And they go, huh? Because they're not expecting that. And they go, yeah, I don't even think Apple would use an Apple screen. They use Samsung and LG, and you know what? They're even suing Samsung, which means their screens must really suck. Or I'll say something like, when was the last time you saw an Apple TV at Best Buy? When you go to Times Square, do you see an Apple on the projector that's shooting out the big advertisement? No, because they don't make screens. I'll take them off guard, so that from that first moment where I say, I would never use an Apple screen, and then I come up with my, semi-humorous little sales pitch, I've taken them off guard. And as soon as you take them off guard, or as soon as you make them laugh, you are free to sell whatever you want. But that's what you're actually selling. You're selling the time, the thought, and the effort that goes into making them laugh, the time, the thought, and the effort that goes into talking to them for 20 minutes, the time, the thought, and the effort that goes into coming up with these little witty ways to take people off guard. Again, me simply listening to somebody go on and on and on about their just asinine and annoying and totally fucking irrelevant personal philosophies. So that when she bitched about the label, she bitched about the very paper that a fucking ticket was printed on, being able to make a funny joke about the difference between a label printer and a receipt printer and kind of link that back to your own philosophy about money with a little charming, flirtatious cherry on top. You're actually paying for that, and that actually does smooth over these transactions and make them work well. And, that's kind of part of what I'm selling, and that's kind of part of what you need to be thinking about when you're setting up your pricing structure and how it is you're going to deal with your customers. Again, the way I deal with people, I'm always telling them the truth, but I'm always telling them the truth in a manner that's kind of going to make them laugh, or a manner in which they are going to be okay with it even when it's something that they probably shouldn't have been okay with. It's a lot easier than lying if you just master how to do it right. And again, it's something that you need to be compensated for while you're doing it. Again, having that conversation with the guy about why his screen cracked again in a week, and all having the conversation with the guy that wants to know if I'm using original Apple screens and blah, blah, blah. These are conversations that I don't want to be having for $15 in profit. Call me crazy, I think that's a complete waste. And yeah, that's it for today.